All right, Buff Nation, what is going on, everybody? I'm glad to be back. You're probably noticing that the setup's a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit different here for a few days or so, doing some traveling, seeing some friends, attending to some family business. So, David Talks Buffs is on the road for a little bit, trying to make the best that I can with this whole little setup. So hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Got a lot of news to talk about that we're going to dive into. Y'all be sure to smash that like. Of course, let me know your thoughts. I'll try and get to any questions or comments before the DNVR show happens. I want to get this out before DNVR because, like you guys, I like watching their show. But hey, gonna catch you guys up on some news. First and foremost, big shout out to Mad Titan, one of my friends and one of my followers on Twitter. All right. Hopefully I'm back. Sorry about that connection issue, y'all. But yeah, y'all let me know if there's any issues. But my friend Mad Titan hit me up. Let me know after I published that video. David Connor went on Twitter, let people know he's dealing with a death in the family. So prayers, condolences to him and his family and his loved ones. He is still going to be on the team, just taking a leave of absence, but we don't know how long that's going to be. Demouy Kennedy, from my knowledge, is a different circumstance. I would imagine right now that means one roster spot is now going to be open with the scholarships because with Sam Hart coming in here, we were at a full 80. So we at least have one spot that's opening up. And I would expect for us to have 5 to 10 guys jump in the portal. And hopefully, I think kind of Coach Prime alluded to this already, but we'll see still the offensive line and that defensive interior targeted in the transfer portal, no doubt. So hopefully we can get some more bodies in here because right now, as long as David Connor is out, we are definitely looking a little thin at tackle. We got Jordan Seaton and Phillip Houston over on the left side. Neither one of them have played a snap in Power 4 football yet. And Khalil Benson, Savion Washington going after that right tackle position right now. I don't think either of them are suited well to play the left side. So I would like to see another veteran come in here on that left side, especially just because, again, we got a true freshman and then a guy coming up from G5 that we haven't seen either of them play Power 4. And the other piece of news that I did want to get to today, let me go ahead and share my screen, give some love to a friend of the show, Jake Schwanitz, right here. Let's go. University of Colorado announces that athletic director Rick George has been named athletic director of the year by the National Association of Collegiate Directors of Athletics. Yes, well deserved. Rick George. Again, I was telling, I forget the troll's name. But there was a troll that was like, David, you want to have done this show without Coach Prime? And I would say, yes, you are absolutely right. I would not have. As a alum of the university, I was thrilled. I was so thrilled that this has happened. And I couldn't help but want to get on here all the time to talk to you guys about it. And now we got Rick George getting some recognition that he fully deserves, because not only has he brought us back from the dead when it comes to bringing us relevancy in the football program, something that we haven't had, but let's take a look at all of our athletics. The women's basketball team absolutely killing it. Had a fantastic March Madness run last year. Okay. Colorado men's basketball, it's always kind of been ups and downs, but hey, we made the tournament. We play this evening. That's wonderful. I think we're tied for the most wins that we've ever had in school history from the men's program this year. So that is wonderful stuff. And you even want to take a look at like skiing and stuff like that. we've done really well in those departments too. So credit to Rick George. And on top of all of that, being the first one to orchestrate us leaving the Pac-12, a conference where we did not benefit in being in at all for that whole era, back to the Big 12, bringing stability in college sports, and especially bringing us stability in football. So, yeah, we could have very well a year and a half ago. Right now, most of us were thinking as Buffs fans that we would be destined for the same path that Wazoo and Oregon State is on, kind of being relegated to the Mountain West. Credit to Rick George for convincing the regents, the donors, the board, the school president, everybody involved, the chancellor, to go all in on Coach Prime, being able to change the academic restrictions, opening up more degree possibilities for transfers coming in. And now we've been able to play with the big boys in the transfer portal, speaking directly about football, which is a huge deal. You know, a lot of these other schools that have maintained some of this academic restriction. Let's take a look at, Stanford. They've kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit compared to when they had Andrew Luck and or Jim Harbaugh, that type of era. Cal has had much better days of football in the past, right? Northwestern has been, even though they had a very good year last year, very surprising year. They were going to Rose Bowls, 15 years ago, right? So, this is well overdue, well due for Rick George. I think he's done a phenomenal job here at Colorado, and I hope he alludes to this too, but I think that he's going to be here just as long as Prime is. I think that if you were following this program prior to 2020, the end of 2022, you kind of had an idea that this might have been Rick George's last hire. And so he needed to make sure it got right from a football head coach perspective. And I think that he's absolutely crushed it. And, here's to another year where we see improvement. Again, going from 1 win to 4 wins. I think the floor for this team is another 3 wins, and then everything on top of that is gravy, baby. I think so. So, Sir Ken coming in here saying, let me see here. He said there was some keyboard warriors in the live chat. We're talking about the Colorado presser that just happened this afternoon. But that guy, Jay, with the banana emoji was one of them ones. I love the haters. Man, I love the haters too. They're coming back out in full force already. So I think a lot of us are really, really pumped to see that, hey, we got spring practice going on. We're seeing clips again of guys going at it in practice. Okay, so not only are we excited, but the closet fans. That's kind of how I see the trolls and the haters, man. They're closet fans because they got the notifications on. They're spending their entire day on this team. And if you're just looking, right, if you're just looking at the behavior of what defines a fan, those guys fit it with where they're spending their time and their energy and, their fingers and everything like that. So it's one of the most hilarious things about this whole Coach Prime Colorado thing has been the amount of people being involved, including the haters. Now, and I don't think they realize this, is that all these channels that they go to, not only mine, but there's a lot of other great Colorado channels that you can go to, a lot better than mine. But it's so funny because when they come here or come to other channels, they're putting money in everybody's pockets, which I just find hilarious. Mansa Musa, good job, Dave. Rick George is going to be the highest paid AD soon. And this is what I'm thinking. Why don't we just extend them at the same time, Coach Prime and Rick George? Wouldn't that just be beautiful? I know it's been a little while since I've come out, had a video on wanting to make Coach Prime the highest paid coach in college football. I still stand by that. I know things aren't perfect here, but things are moving in a fantastic direction. Again, Rome was not built overnight. Dynasties are very rarely just, built with the snap of a finger. And I think that a lot of y'all that maybe are just following this for the first, for the last year and a half, you guys don't understand like how hard it's been to win here. And sometimes it's hard for me to put into words exactly what type of how bad of a job this was when Coach Prime decided to sign on and take this. And that's why it's like, man, guys, if we're seeing at least another 3-game improvement, you guys, there are some people that aren't going to be satisfied with that, but it's taking away the job that Coach Prime will have done if that's the case. Because I don't think that some of y'all grow up in SEC country, right? Or Big 12 country where Texas and Oklahoma are in it every year. And this program is just not, it hasn't been that for most of my life. They were after you, just tell them to come to the dark side. Exactly, exactly. You can be on Team Dark Side Dave or on Team David Talks Buffs. It doesn't really matter. I just like to have a discussion with y'all. Let's see here. Oh, I see Diz in the chat. I haven't read your comment yet, but dude, you got to give me your thoughts on Caden Proctor. What the heck? Dude, what the heck, man? What is his deal? What is his deal? You can't. It's one thing if you're Lundy, okay, and coming out here to Colorado, saying you're going to come, and then switching your mind 3 weeks later, going back to Florida State. Maybe you got yourself uh, a little pay raise, right? But you can't do that type of thing going back home, right? You just can't do that going back home. That's not right of Caden Proctor, man. Rose, hey Dave, I'm excited to see what linebacker we get out of the portal. Juju was a blessing to us. Man, I wish he could have kept it together, man. I really do because yeah, he was a good linebacker for us. It's unfortunate we got to see him play like what 3 games, 2 games for us. And yeah, hopefully he can find himself with a camp invite and impress. But hey, shout out to Roderick Ward. I probably need to do a video on this. Maybe again, we'll see. I'm not really sure how often I'll be around this next week, but Roderick Ward running a 4.4740. Wow. With that kind of speed, I think I saw somebody tweet out that would have been faster than 13 of the 16 safeties at the combine. Wow. That type of speed should be noticed. And you got to hope that he can at the very least becomes a priority free agent signing or is able to sneak into that day 3. I think how I've had guys ranked in the past of Buffs getting drafted, Zay Weaver, number 1, number 2 would be Jordan Dominic, and number 3 would be Roderick Ward. Maybe I had Roderick Ward and Jordan Dominic flipped. I can't remember, but I think both of those guys help themselves out with the testing yesterday in the pro day. So that's great to see. If we can get multiple Buffs drafted, wouldn't that be phenomenal? David Talks Buffs, what are your thoughts on Javon Antonio running a 4.53? He caught a bad rap because he got injured and played behind a crappy O-line. So, okay, I didn't understand. I didn't know that he was injured this past season because he kind of ran really stiff, right? Like, didn't he seem like he was running stiff to you? I just thought that's how he ran. But maybe with a 4.53, yeah, he can. I still don't think he gets drafted, but I think he gets a camp invite. Could I see him sticking on a practice squad for a little while between teams? Yes, because there are going to be coaches that see that type of body archetype, 6'4", jacked, now has some data to go with the speed, right, of a 4.53. That's awesome. Yeah, I still don't see him getting into draft territory, but I think he made a case for himself to at least have a shot of getting a camp invite somewhere. And guys, I guess there's a couple different tiers of camp invites. You can be like a OTA body, right, coming in there for a rookie camp. There are a lot of guys there, and then they don't get invited back for a training camp where they have like 120 guys or 110 guys, something like that. Maybe it's closer to 90. But yeah, the other guys, they get the opportunity to also go to training camp, and then, they can find themselves on a practice squad or a 53-man roster, all of that. But hey, even if you're just a rookie camp invite and you don't get past rookie camp, I think you can still make like a few $1,000 doing that. So not too bad for a week's worth of work. All right. J-Rad. Now that the 2023 pro day is over, hopefully the nonsense of any of those guys getting drafted will die down. I don't think Jordan Dominic gets drafted. I'm sorry, Jordan Dominic. I see again the guy there's in that top tier is just Zay Weaver. I think then, or I meant Derek McClendon, not Jordan Dominic. Then kind of that next tier of maybe, has a puncher's chance is Roderick Ward and Jordan Dominic. And then there's kind of everybody else, Derek McClendon. I'm trying to remember who else was part of that pro day. I can't remember right now. DK. Demouy Kennedy got an invite to the Atlanta. Who's DK? Because it's not Demouy Kennedy. Let me know, Gemini. Or is that Derek McClendon? DK. Who would DK be? Omari Miller. Okay. This is another video that I'm wanting to talk about. I gave Keith or Rawhide Media a call the other day, and I just thought it was so funny that Omari and Miller switch into Javon Antonio's number 4. So, yeah, I'm gonna have an episode, guys, later on. Y'all be thinking about it. It's gonna be a safe space. Or what's the one player that you're just you're gonna glaze over no matter what? You're just glazing on them this year. I think I might double down along with Rawhide on the Calvin Johnson take for whoever's wearing number 4. Hey, Omari Miller wearing that number 4, Calvin Johnson, baby. I'm gonna do it, following in his footsteps. So, hey, that's nice that Derek McClendon got an invite to the Falcons. Good for him. It's a little surprising, and hopefully he can make the most of it. Because damn, I wish we saw a better version of him this past year. Right? There's a saying, Buffs. David talks Buffs. He got injured before the TCU game. Well, dang, man, I wish we just would have had Jordan Dominic out there, or not Jordan Dominic, Omari Miller out there way more. But I guess he, didn't know the routes, all that, the complex playbook, whatever it is. Leonard Payne, maybe he can do something, but I think you'll probably see the majority of these guys playing more UFL and CFL football, most likely. And that's not a dig at them. Again, when you can go professional in playing a sport, no matter what level it is, that is very impressive. That is wonderful. And that can change your life in some ways. Maybe it's not millions of dollars all the time, but that you can still make really good money doing that. And it's going to open up a lot more doors moving forward if they want to still stay in, at football, athletics, coaching, all of that. So, yeah, guys, let me know if you have any more questions. I'll get on to the presser stuff right now in the meantime. And can y'all hear me okay? I just realized that my mic volume was a little low from traveling, from being in my bag. I'm sorry about that. But hey, let's go ahead and talk about Coach Prime. He answered this question about the in-home visits, not doing in-home visits, whatever it is. From my knowledge, I thought that he had at least done a couple, that he had traveled. But link to all the pressers is in the description of the video, so you guys can check it out. And okay, thanks, J-Rad. And I thought that this was an interesting answer. He said, they don't want to see me at their home. They want to see what's going on here, which I think is a fair point that he brings up, because this whole thing is very unconventional, I guess, to how a lot of other college football programs are run. But I would say that I feel like if you were to do a few more in-home visits along with having guys out here, I think that could go a long ways in helping recruiting. I still think it could, I think it does say something when somebody takes the time to travel for a day to go and see you. And but don't get me wrong, having people come out here, having families come out here, that's all wonderful. And I think it's great. I think it's important for them to see the environment that's being built here, get to talk to a lot of the other coaches, staff, players when they come and visit. They want to experience Boulder. I think that that's a big criticism that we had with prior coaches outside of, well, no, it's not fair for me to say that about McIntyre, but with Carl Durrell, it just didn't seem like he understood. Even though he has a house out here, he understood just the beauty of Boulder, how magnetic of a college town it can be, the potential, to come here and play football in this type of environment. It's beautiful, and we got great facilities. Big credit to Mike McIntyre for helping that whole thing happen. Rick George, all that, but it's nice to see that Coach Prime understands that. And Coach Livingston was talking about that today. Just driving down Highway 36, you can get a whole view of the Boulder Valley. It's breathtaking. I've driven down that. It's really your only main way into Boulder, and it's breathtaking no matter how many times you do it. I've driven down that or ridden the bus down that route, and it's just amazing every single time. So, yeah, I think that it could go a long way though. Like, just like, hey, you have somebody that brings you out for a job interview, all that is great, right? They fly you out, they take you out dining and whatnot. That can be really flattering, really great. You get a tour of the offices, how things are going, right? You get to meet people. But when you have somebody that commands the type of presence that a Nick Saban or a Coach Prime or some of those other guys have, when they take the time to travel to your place, I think that does go a long way. So I'm not saying he needs to completely change and switch up, but what he's doing, I think it's the right thing, making Boulder the focus. Okay, just sprinkle that in a little bit, and I think it could. I think it can make a really big impact in it with some of these blue chip guys. Now, another part of the press conference, Jordan Seaton spoke, and y'all got to help me answer this one. Jordan Seaton talked about again what really stood out to him about this program was that Coach Prime was the only one out of these head coaches that was telling him not how good he was, but everything that he needed to improve on. That was really interesting. So, and I thought that was great. It was wonderful, right? Because I think that there can be this narrative that for some reason, if Coach Prime being a Hall of Famer, being a guy that's been around the game his whole life, coach, all that, for some reason doesn't know how to coach or doesn't know technique, anything like this. You can point that out. But I did think that was interesting that on the early National Signing Day, he doubled down on this thing, and I'm trying to understand. He's like, "Well, I was in Miami and I didn't have Wi-Fi to send the papers over." Guys, that doesn't, Jordan, you got to come up with a better excuse than that, man. It's okay. It's okay if you were playing the field, man. I understand how business is done, but to say in 2023, at that point, December 2023, that you don't have Wi-Fi anywhere in the United States does not check out with me, unless you're on like a yacht off of way off of the coast to where there's no internet, no cell service out there. But everybody knows how to make a hotspot off their phone now, right? To me, it just doesn't. Jordan, that doesn't check out with me, man. Didn't have Wi-Fi, but hey, at least he's maintaining the same story, right? But one day, Jordan, if that's not the true story, I hope you come clean. One day. Man, we got Rawhide in the house. That's what's up. Um, these Omari Miller, Jay Wester, Cormani fan bases are nuts. You can add Jimmy Horn in there too, right? Does it? They got to earn their spots by being good on and off the field. Cormani always gets cooked in practice. We don't know who gets cooked in practice, man. We just see some clips. So, to be honest, though, I haven't watched the full practice highlights of day one yet. So, I can't really tell you. But, hey, man, I would say that we all got our guys that we're cheering for extra hard. I know you're a Jimmy Horn guy. Dizza, I saw that he I saw a clip of him talking about how he's keeping the receipts. So I think that's great. All that. Just enjoy it, man. Enjoy the competition. It's gonna be fun. Some of y'all are on Team Benson, some of y'all are on Team Savion. I'm on team just just no sacks, man. Just don't give up sacks. I just don't want any of that. Oh man. Right, Maya. Jordan Scene's wearing ice for days and doesn't have Wi-Fi. Yeah, something about that just does not check out with me, man. You gotta have a better lie. You gotta have a better lie than that. Uh, yeah, yeah, he's stuck in his lie now. Never ever tells how he played us right. Oh man. All right, and yeah, this is probably the biggest question right now of spring ball and going into the 2024 season. Coming up here, this question again, guys. If I'll go for a few more minutes, let me know if you got any questions. Will Shedeur start this year? Fantastic question. Shador's coming off of a season where he broke most of the Colorado records, passing records this past year. So I would say that he's a favorite to start here for CU. But hey, you never know if one of the guys behind him is just absolutely juicing, then maybe things change. But right now, I'm gonna put my money on him starting week one. Kevin Dorsey coming in here. Thanks for this. He's saying, I love how Jordan is the number one recruit, but still humble enough to listen to the older guys on the team. Yes. Yeah. I love that. And I think that he's doing a good job of understanding his place on the team, coming in here as a guy with high potential, a highly recruited guy, but not not like going beyond his place. I feel like he is very humble and self-aware, and I think that those are all really good qualities that he has. And the fact that he can take coaching constructive criticism like that, sees that as a positive, sees that as love, which really it is in order to get better. Yeah, like I think that it's one of those qualities that's going to make him great. Right? What type of question is that? Hey man, I'll answer all these funny questions, man. It cracks me up. Yeah, y'all hit that like button. Hey, appreciate it, guys. Eric Morris in the house, man. I'd love to see you. Thanks for coming in here. David might have already answered this. Sorry, late to the party, but how did you like the answer about Coach Prime not doing home visits? Spark Notes version, I love, and I think it's the right strategy to put the emphasis on being in Boulder, visiting out here, understanding how special of a place it is, getting to see the unique environment that he's building with the program, being able to see the players, how they practice, the coaches, how they coach the team, like all that, being able to experience the culture. It absolutely needs to be the priority to get families and players out here. Um, but yeah, like I I think you could just sprinkle it in just a little bit. Sprinkle in a a home visit, every now and then because I think that it will be really special. What Dave missed the Connor update. Mad Titan on Twitter, one of my friends, he hit me up, let me know that after you probably noticed that I took that video down on David Connor uh, being off the team. He kind of clarified a little bit later on Twitter that he is going through a a death in the family. So that is why he's just stepping away from the team from a leave of absence. So he's not entering the portal. He's not off the team, anything like that. So then I took down that video because if he were still leaving the team or whatever, would I leave that up? I was just kind of speculating on what might have happened, but that's a way different thing than what was implied with, I feel like, some of the information that Brian Howell put out there. So I went ahead and just remove that. So, and I noticed that there were like a few comments after I put that video. They're like, "This guy Dave doesn't, has no idea what's going on." Guys, I am not a journalist, so like Mad Titan, if you guys notice that there's an update or something like that, just hit me up in the comments and let me know what the reality is, and then I can change. But just like you guys talking about this at the barber shop, anything like that, or when you go to the sports bar, I I just come on here and give you my take with the opinion that I got. But I thought because that was such a very serious situation, go ahead and remove that video and clarify opening up today's show the fact just stepping away from the team. Still a buff. It's unclear when he will be back. You got to sort through a lot of those things. Sometimes you don't know how long that stuff's going to take. But from what I understand is that he'll have a spot on the team whenever he returns, which is great because we need tackle depth, and I'm really ready to see if what he's got. I mean, aren't you? I'm ready to see what David Connor's got. Yeah, but Demouy Kennedy's gone, and this is what I was saying in my little video yesterday is, guys, like, not everybody's going pro. Not everybody's going to the NFL. It's only the elite of the elite of the elite that go to the NFL. And I think Demouy Kennedy, he needs to go to a place where he knows that he's going to play. Because at the end of the day, that's what you want to do as a football player is you want to be a player that's on the field, right? So, best of luck to Des Moines. I I wish that it had worked out, but still, wasn't able to keep some of the keep healthy, stay on the fields, kind of some of those reoccurring things that we had wondered if it would be a bit different with the change of scenery. Sometimes things can change when you get in a new training program, new nutrition, all of that. But yeah, I was bummed to see, but at the end of the day, I think he needs to go to a place where he's going to play. And right now, with Keaton Wade looking like he's going to play a little bit more inside, you got him, Jalen Wester. I think Trevor Woods, as long as he's here, he's going to be playing over somebody like Demouy Kennedy at linebacker. And I imagine that this is a position that we're going to target in the portal as well. So I'm not sure if things were looking too bright out here. LG Sensei saying, "Did you hear the part where he said that if he goes to one area, the other school's coach will get mad and not send their players to see you?" He said they see him different from other coaches. Man, I didn't catch that part of it. Wow. If he goes to one area, the other school's coach will get mad and not send players. Is that how they are with other coaches, though? With how Nick Saban's been in the past or whatever? To me, that doesn't. I get a little confused if that's the truth because if you're a high school coach and you're saying, you know what, I'm not going to send my players to Coach Prime, so that means you're selfish and egotistical enough to not do what's best for your players for those kids' future because you got man, that's messed up. Those high school coaches, I hope he's not visiting a lot of those guys because they sound like real sons of bitches to me if that's what they're doing. Yeah, Eric Morris, and I love the fact that Livingston talked about just wanting to get the best athletes they got on the field as much as possible. And so that's why again, this idea that Keaton Wade kind of being a jack of all trades type of guy. I think we'll see him a little bit of at edge. I think we'll see him a little bit at inside linebacker. He has the ability to cover the slot a little bit. Same with Jalen Wester. That's why I like that idea of just having him on the field. So, say if at the edge position or defensive end position, you got somebody like Okunloa and then BJ Green on the other side, right? You still want Keaton Wade on the field, put him on the field in that linebacker. And it's also going straight into that positionless football that he's talked a lot about, okay, is it's you don't always want to give the offense a direct cue of what's going on defense just based on the personnel. Keaton Wade gives us the ability to disguise things really well, and I look forward to seeing how Robert Livingston uses him in that. Dizza coming in. I'm a Jimmy defender. That's right. None of his drops affected the games. He did an outstanding job last season. He would have been way better. And I'll defend Jimmy on this too. He was one of our most clutch players this past year. No doubt. No doubt. Just iron out the consistency. That's all it is. Ain't a big deal. D Hall saying, I like David Connor's mom, and I'm going to contribute to her classroom, getting to Central Florida for the game there. That's awesome, D Hall. Where can we contribute to her classroom? Does she have a Twitter? Let us know. And that's fun that you're going to be at the UCF game. I'm hoping that I can be there with Raw. Raw, let me know when you got your care package, man. I got it in the mail yesterday, and I'm hoping to be at the UCF game. I think that game is going to be a lot of fun. Let's see what else we got. Eric Morris coming in here saying, David, after the spring game, do you think more people are coming in, leaving, or more 50-50? Those who might leave might be scared of competition. This, this is something. This is something, guys, that we got to stop saying this, man. And I know that there are probably some guys who are scared of competition, okay? But at the end of the day, I think that some guys, they could just see the writing on the wall that they have no chance to play at this level. And I'm not talking about just guys on like this team or last year's team. I'm talking about just in college football in general. Like when you're on a team, you see guys come in, whatever, you want to play. You're a football player. You only got 4 or 5 years. If another COVID year hits, whatever, man, you got 6, 7, depending on how things go, right? You only have a small time to get on the field and play football. And I think like sometimes it's just so easy for us to say, this guy wanted to go away from competition, man. He ain't a dog. I think a lot of that's kind of bullshit. I think like some guys just hop in the portal because they want to find a better opportunity to play. And I think that's what a lot of us would do in the same situation if we didn't believe like that we were truly one of the ones that could compete for playing time. Like, but all that to say, I think we got a lot more guys on the roster that are at that ability to compete for real playing time this year. But I still think we'll see 5 to 10 guys enter the portal. I will not tolerate calling him Jimmy Street Clothes Horn. I will not tolerate that. Oh, this is awesome. Chico interviewed Connor's mom on Prime Parents. The school principal gave out the info during the video. That's great. Okay. Thank you, D Hall. That should be easy to find. Exactly, J Rad. Exactly, J Rad. You don't get to being a power four or Division One football player, whether that's FCS, G5, whatever, just by being a bitch. You just don't. When other guys are better, sometimes you just take that opportunity to leave. And there's nothing wrong with that. All right. Go here for a few more minutes. Y'all let me know if you got any questions. I think I've covered like all the things that I wanted to pop on here and cover. I will say, Rawhide, you might have missed this earlier on, but hey, I'm gonna have an episode later this week, and it's gonna be a safe space. So for whichever player you want to glaze on, whether people in the chat, just bring your number one guy. That could be Cormani, it could be Khalil Benson, it could be Jimmy Horn, it could be Omari and Miller, it could be Carter Stoutmeyer. But we're gonna have a time where we're just gonna hype up our guys, and we're gonna tell everybody why this guy is gonna surprise all the haters. And to me, one of the guys that I'm thinking is, of course, Omari Miller, now wearing Javon Antonio, aka Calvin Johnson, aka Javon Calvin Johnson Antonio. Now we're gonna call him Omarion, aka Calvin Johnson, aka Megatron Miller. He's wearing the same number And maybe we were just a year early comping whoever was wearing number 4 to Megatron, right? Darkside Dave's he's gonna be there, but he's not gonna be there how you guys expect it to be there. So that's what I'm saying. You know, it's gonna be just in the words of King Candy from Wreck-It Ralph, you know, he glazed me. He glazed me. That we're just gonna glaze all over these players, man. We're gonna hype them all up. Oh man. Eric saying I read something if the ACC falls apart that the University of Miami would come to the Big 12. If so, just imagine the recruiting boost Coach Prime will get, like he needs any boost from the state of Florida. That would be interesting. Now, if the ACC falls apart, I know that the Florida Gators have a lot of pull in the SEC and kind of what they've done in the past. But I would hope that they would at least explore the options of adding Florida State and Miami. I think that obviously the Big Ten's a lot more interested in Florida State, but I would love to see them also add Miami. If the Big Ten's adding Florida State, just go ahead and add Miami. I think that if there's any team, sadly, as sad as this is, I think the Big 12 will only get the leftovers of what the Big Ten and SEC don't want. And I would imagine one of those conferences would want the University of Miami, right? But man, would it be cool? Oh man. Okay. Oh, see, Rawhide. You said Miller's the new, yes, Miller's the new Megatron. That's what I'm talking about. Megatron. Omarion, aka Megatron Miller. I love it. I love it. Okay, guys, I'm gonna get out of here again. I'll just read this. You guys always distract me again. Massive ADHD. Hoping we can get an end zone kicker out the portal. We need one badly. We need a kickoff specialist, baby. But maybe one of the guys I start glazing on is my man Mata, all kicked up, looking good, adding distance. Can he kick kickoffs this year? We'll just have to see. Can he kick touchbacks this year? Oh Lord, oh football gods, please let it be. Give Mata all the creatine, the clear, the steroids, the HGH, all of it, man, all of it, all of the red con one. We need it. We need it in those legs. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I will see you guys all tomorrow. Y'all go check out the DNVR live stream. I think it's starting soon if it hasn't started already. And as always, y'all, go Buffs.